sign up to any courses that you feel might be of interest. I just got a strange message there. I don't know if anybody else did.
Yeah, I got one too.
Yeah, so apologies for that. So the rest of the stuff on that slide is really stuff that I've already explained around the audit process, the campaigns that we run regarding our comms activity. You may have seen on social media recently that we had a safeguarding children awareness week. That was only in the last couple of weeks. Of course, the COVID restrictions have made things really difficult for everybody, including us. But we've tried to do what we can in terms of promoting, key messages and to as wide an audience as possible. We did have a fantastic response to our honour-based violence and abuse campaign the other week, where we had about 130 people on an event, which just goes to show you can do it. But just to highlight those couple of things really. And just to say that our full board and partnership, of which Kate is part of, we meet bi-monthly. So every 2 months, each side does meet. And as I said, we join up twice a year for a joint meeting. And obviously that's the opportunity for both sides, adults and children, to meet then. Okay, can I have the next slide, please? I'm just going to try and move this message that says that the meeting's being recorded. That's it, it's gone, because it was right in the middle of my screen. I added in this slide because I think this was just important for your audience really, and we have developed strong links, and we continue to try to have those strong links with local voice groups, and that's obviously to make sure that we are getting people's voice heard, and that we're listening to adults and children who are experiencing services in Rochdale. Obviously, our focus is with regard to safeguarding, but that's what we are trying to continue to have, those links, so we can tap into the great work that you do and that other similar organisations do, to make sure that we're listening and learning, and hopefully perhaps moulding some of our work to what's being fed back. And as I mentioned earlier, as part of our serious case review work, both in adults and children's, we do as much as we can try to engage families to ensure that their views are heard. And only recently I met virtually with a family, the wife of a man who'd sadly died, and his adult son, to talk about what they thought about the services that they'd received, and sadly they weren't too happy, but hopefully that was a helpful process, and we were able to listen to what they'd got to share, and from their own experience. So that's what we're doing with regard to voice of our citizens really. Okay, next slide. So just to recap, I've nearly finished now, so hopefully it's not been too much of a trial for you, listening to me droning on. I'm much better in person, but yeah, just to recap then, the purpose of our Safeguarding Adults Board and Children's Partnership is that we promote agencies to work together. So nobody's wanting to work in silos. We all know from what we read in the press and different cases that get reported, the really bad things that happen, that there's always a criticism that people didn't share information, they didn't work with them, they were working on their own, so-and-so went off and did that, but they didn't tell so-and-so that they'd done it. So our purpose is to try and make that not happen, and that we all work together and we all listen to each other. Not that it's a mass loving, not that we're not challenging one another, but that we are actually listening and learning from each other. And of course, that means that our ultimate goal is to make sure that our priority is to make sure that adults and children in Rochdale are safeguarded. And that's our absolute priority. But of course, how we do that is by constantly learning by what everyone is doing. And the way that we do that is by our reviews, by our audits, by our meetings, when people say this happened, that happened, by listening to people, and then making sure that if there is training that's required or awareness that needs to be raised, that we then make sure our activity regarding training and comms links to what we've learned from our review and audit. And I think that may be it. I don't know if I've got anything else. Just a thank you there, and some key email addresses, and obviously our website there. Please do check us out. But if there's one thing I can promote today, it is our training, the link which is on the slides earlier, but it is via those websites also. We have a newsletter. It's got lots of good stuff in it. And if you have 10 minutes to catch up on that, then please do. And just to ask if anyone's got any questions.
Thank you very much for that, Amanda. It was an excellent presentation, as you say. Is there any questions? If we could stop sharing the screen, I can see if anyone's hands up. Thank you. Any questions for Amanda, please?
I'm just hopeful that gives a bit of an indication of what we do, and I'm conscious that obviously you're very interested in terms of feedback from people who are using services, families, etc., who are affected by professionals' work. So that is something that we're constantly striving, and it's not easy, as I'm sure that you are aware, that we're constantly striving to include, and particularly through our review work, to make sure that we're listening to people, and we're acting on what they're telling us, really.
Okay, thank you. No, excellent presentation. I will be certainly signing up to the newsletter. Everyone else does as well. Sorry, Margaret, did you have a question?
No, I thought I was still on mute. Sorry about that.
Ben, can I just come in quickly, just to really give some assurances to our board with the involvement that we do have with the safeguarding team over at Rochdale. Mel has taken over and started attending the board meetings now. We attend the communications side of the safeguarding board as well, and Claire attends that, and we're also involved in the quality. So we do feed in our data and our information, and we have been involved in some of the voice work that's been going on with Action Together and the Place team with Helen Chico. So it's been brilliant, and it's been really eye-opening to see that engagement from a safeguarding perspective. So thanks for coming in today, Amanda. It's been really appreciated.
Fantastic, and I'll come again, no problem, and hopefully we might get to meet in person one day.
Absolutely. Feel free to come back anytime. You feel free to stay for the rest of the meeting if you wish, or if you want to get off, that's completely fine.
I'd love
as
to.
well.
Unfortunately, I'm on to my next thing, which is the virtual world, isn't it? You're constantly on to the next
yes,
thing. So,
absolutely.
But, Kate and Mel, no doubt I'll see you in the near future, and hopefully see some people on some of our training. Have a great meeting. Okay.
Thank you very much, Amanda. Bye now. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Okie dokie. Brilliant. Okay. So item 3, questions for the public. I believe we do not have any questions from the public.
None received this month, Ben.
Thank you very much. On to the minutes. I take it everyone's read the minutes, and if there's any matters of accuracy, please put forward them now. No? Okay. Is everyone happy with those minutes?
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant. Fantastic. Moving on to matters arising. Is there any matters arising from the minutes that are not on the agenda? No, thank you. Okay, brilliant. Next item, declarations of interest. Is there any declarations of interest in terms of the agenda items?
None from me, thank you.
No, brilliant. Okay, fantastic. Go on to the action log. Take it everyone's read it. So, Kate, anything to pull out that the board need to know about?
No, absolutely not. We've got no outstanding actions. Everything's up to date and completed. So yeah, everything's done. Nothing outstanding.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Okay, item 8, the work plan report. Again, I'm presuming everyone's read it and digested it. Anything to add on that, Kate?
No, nothing to add. What I was going to, because there's a full update coming next from the team. So
Yeah.
I think it'd be better to take the questions. The report is specific and that goes into the public domain. Because it's an external work plan, we push that document out into the public domain, but the further detail will now be given when the staff give their individual updates. So we'll take questions after that. Is that okay, Chair?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, on to the operational updates. So we start off with engagement. Tracy, thank you.
You, Ben. Can I just check if I've been made unable to share screen, or if somebody's doing that on my behalf, please?
Yeah, Rob's going to share it.
I'm going to share it now.
That's right. Thanks, Rob. And can I just have a quick ask of the chair? Would it be possible, Ben? I was going to do a quick whistle stop tour, but I can do in 5 minutes, or I can extend it by a minute or two if you want more context. It's up to yourself, seeing as we're so ahead. Either way for myself.
We'll leave it to you, Tracy. Whatever you want to tell us. Thank you.
Yeah, so can I just step in there? Sorry, just to let you know, this is a 30-page update now from the whole staff team. So yeah, take it away, Tracy, give you full update. We've got time. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Kate. Right, so this is the update on the engagement work streams and the Engage project. So can I have the next slide, please, Rob? That'd be great. Okay, so work stream number 1 from our work plan is GP practices, and at the moment the main focus of that is website reviews. So this is a slightly progressive piece of work, shall we say. I'm in the process at the moment of writing all the reports, which is quite a timely task, but coming on well. We've got 1/3 of all reports done now. All the reviews are being done on the 36 GP practice websites. So the reports are due to be finalised mid-July. After that, there will be reports sent to each of the GP practices, as well as to the leads for each primary care network, with the cluster information in there for them. This was a piece of work that was constantly picked up through consultation with our advisory group as an issue, and also through the general public. Once we have done the website reviews, we will re-audit in November, and we'll also be looking at progressing some work around patient participation groups in August to see what the status of them is. Again, another issue that's been coming through the advisory group, and they're working closely with us on that piece of work. Next slide, please, Rob. So the next one that I'm leading on is work stream 3, community mental health, and we have just got a couple of surveys now going live. One is for children and adults mental health, and the other one is for, children and young people's mental health. The other one is for adults mental health. And we're wanting feedback from people who have either used services or may potentially use services in the future, to find out how they know about what is there, how they'd access that. We have delayed this piece of work slightly because we've worked in partnership with the CCG, the council, and also our Youth Watch group to get their views on the content. What we didn't want to do was make this a meaningless survey that wouldn't influence change locally. We've remained independent doing that by being very upfront that we will retain independence, but the transformation programme that is happening for mental health at the moment is massive, and the speed that that's moving could have made this invalid before we'd even got to the end of the survey in some ways. So it's really good to be on board with that transformation rather than pulling them up after they've moved on already. So the next step will be to analyse the surveys, and then we'll be looking at doing a mental health feedback campaign in August to September time through to October, November. And then that will be followed by a second survey towards the end of 2021. Next slide, Rob, please. The work stream number 4, this is our information, advice and signposting. And we are, I'm very excited to say, on track to be starting some face-to-face delivery in July. So we've had confirmation from the Lighthouse project in Middleton. There's a sample poster at the sidebar for that one, and also Rochdale Infirmary. So we'll be doing a monthly drop-in at each of these venues. The Lighthouse project is going to be in the same spot within there, but there's the offer to go and visit other groups at different times within the month if we feel that would be beneficial, and the infirmary will rotate between the outpatients entrance and the main entrance on a monthly basis. We've also had confirmation yesterday as well from a strand at Cult, that we can start going there. So that's really good news as well to cover our other area. We're waiting, we've got tentative agreement for the Phoenix Centre, which we've done previously, Croftsheaffer and Nye Bevan, but all three of them are under the same management and are awaiting the go-ahead from them from a COVID safety aspect, and we're waiting for the go-ahead with Air Hill Extra Housing Care to get back up there as well. Okay, Rob, thank you. And work stream number 7, an audience with. This has been a new piece of work that we started in April. Really pleased with how it's progressed, and I've just got to say a massive thank you to Rob, who's now started supporting on these groups as well, and with the admin of that. We've seen an increase in attendance on the sessions, and we are gathering momentum and pace within there, and issues are being raised that will then feed into our system and into the advisory group. We are looking at the next sessions being for either GP or pharmacists, hopefully. We're just trying to secure the guest speakers there and hope they'll be as successful as our previous children and young people's mental health one, and our adult mental health one, and the carers one, which only took place recently as well. Next slide, Rob, please. So I'm going to just talk over our advisory group very briefly. Great to see Rosemary here today. And the meetings April, May and June all took place as scheduled. And the escalated work that's been completed was the moving on report, which I know board members are aware of. That has now been published and is going to be sent out to the participants who took part in that. That'll include posting it out to some of the participants who do not have email access, as agreed with them, because that was a barrier to the actual consultation. We do have an ongoing escalation, which is around the ear-care service, and we're due to receive their response. If that's not already come through, it is imminent at the moment. So the next steps for the advisory group are to consider frequency and facilitation of meetings due to capacity, but also the fact that the advisory group is far more embedded now, which was the reasoning for that monthly meeting initially, and to look at increasing membership, which I know Naomi is out there beating her drum on for us. So a big thank you to Naomi for trying to get more and more volunteers coming through. Next one, Rob, please. So this falls outside of the usual work stream document, but it's just to keep you up to speed really on this piece of work. So we've picked up a piece of work from the CCG, and it's called the Engage project. So it's on year 3 of this actual project, but it did sit with another organisation. It's been commissioned to ourselves and Rochdale and District Disability Action Group. So the current progress that we've made is we've got now a live Excel workbook so that we can work on it at the same time as RADAG, and it stays operationally live for us without us being in the same room. We've drafted the potential questions for a questionnaire for professionals and also for refugees and asylum seekers, and we're waiting an initial meeting with the Red Cross to go through the questionnaire with them for any feedback and suggestions from them, but also because they host a meeting, the refugee and asylum seekers meeting, which is in July, and I've promised that we can have a slot on there to start engaging partners so that we can start mapping out services. Okay, next one. Thanks, Rob. I think I've done. Lovely. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you for that. That was a really good update. Kate, do you think we'd go through all the staff reports, or should we take questions on each one individually?
I don't mind. I think it's quite long, so I think if anyone's got any specific questions for Tracy, it might be worth bringing them up now.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. Just one for me. It's not a question, more of a comment. I went to the carers session for 10 minutes, unfortunately. Had to do some childcare, but I thought it was a really good session, and it was got quite a lot of people. So thank you very much for putting that session on. Are there any other questions on Tracy's report, please? No, okay. You're a quiet lot today. So we'll move on to Claire's information and communications report. Claire, over to you.
Hi, so I'm Claire Birch and I'm the Information and Communications Coordinator, and this is the quarterly update. So the first update will be on the website. So in the last quarter, we had 3,210 sessions, which is a 13% increase on the website sessions from the same period last year. We had 2,650 separate users who came to who visit our website, which is a 24% increase on the website from the same period last year. The average session duration was 1.19 seconds, which that means that's the average time that someone stays on our website. So that's a 21% decrease from the same period last year, which was 1.50. The top pages visited in the last quarter were our homepage, which obviously ties in with people typing into Google Healthwatch Rochdale, because that'll be the first page that they come on. That had 1.154 views. The second page was a news article on COVID tests, which were now available at pharmacies. And the feedback page was the third most visited page. So 930 of our sessions, which basically is our website visits, came from an organic search, which basically means people have put something into Google. They might have been looking for how to find a dentist, or can't get an appointment with a GP. And because of the articles we've got on our website has come up and they've visited it. 870 of those sessions came directly, which means they've put Healthwatch Rochdale into Google. Next slide, please. 854 came from social media. So on our social media, we always put a link to our website at the end of our posts. So 746 of those came from Facebook, 93 from Twitter, 15 from LinkedIn, and 1 from Instagram. So social media update. So we've now got 2,026 followers, which is an increase of 29 since the 1st of April. We've had 259 tweets, 157 link clicks, 228 retweets, and 279 likes on our post. On Facebook, we've got 1,168 total followers, which is an increase of 98 followers since the 1st of April. We've posted 251 posts, and we've had 619 people click on the links in our posts. On Instagram, we've got 558 total followers, which is an increase of 40 followers. We've had 21 posts and we've had 31 engagements. So Instagram is something that we're currently looking on building up at the moment. It's not as advanced as our Twitter and Facebook. Press releases. So in April, we had 6 press releases and 3 of those were published in Rochdale Online. In May, we had 5 press releases and 1 of those was published on Rochdale Online. In June, we've had 4 press releases. Since I've wrote this, 1 more has gone out, so we've now got 2 more due to go out before the end of June. 1 regarding our annual report, which will be due out tomorrow to be published, and 1 on our the Moving On report, which Tracy mentioned earlier. So far, 1 of those have been published on Rochdale Online. Next slide, please, Rob. So information update. So we've had 78 pieces of feedback, 57 were negative, 18 were positive, and 3 were mixed. We've made 75 signpostings. Of those signpostings, we made 32 referrals to Rochdale Advocacy Together Hub for help making a formal complaint. 25 pieces of those feedback were regarding dentistry issues. The way we've received our feedback was we received 33 via email, 31 via telephone, and 14 through our website feedback form. And that's the end of the presentation. Any questions?
Thank you very much for that. Are there any questions for Claire? Some really good stats.
Mel's got a hand up there.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wondered what the criteria was for Rochdale Online publishing the press releases.
We send all our press releases to Rochdale Online, so I just suppose it depends whether they think it's newsworthy.
Oh, right.
And
so,
it also
it's
depends, it's up to them, and it also depends on whether, you know, sometimes they can have so much coming in that we could have a really good article, but if there's so much other stuff going on, it sort of gets pushed to the bottom of stuff. So yeah, it all depends on whether they think it's newsworthy.
Yeah, it's just whether they've got space and
yeah,
whatever at the time. Okay, thank you.
Well, so I'm Rob Butler, I'm the company administrator, so I'm going to update you on the impact tracker and key feedback received over the last quarter. So the impact tracker is a new document. It's a way to summarise the outcomes and impact we've achieved in a single document. The document's ongoing. We meet every month as a team to complete this, and it enables us to plan and follow up work to check what successes we've had throughout the year. The aim is to reduce the possibility of items being overlooked. The approach should also help us to review which areas of our work lead to the greatest success and more easily access details about our achievements for reporting and publicity purposes. There are 5 main areas covered within the document, the first being the individual inquiry tab. Here we'll log any queries where we might have had, where we want to highlight any specific impact. For example, if we've successfully managed to resolve any issues for residents with signposting and received a positive outcome. The second is the frequent inquiry response count. In this section, we record the frequency to monitor trends. It will also show us areas of which care people are finding most difficult to navigate in the borough. The third is the report recommendations. In this section, we keep a log of our published reports, such as the Moving On report, ear care service and communications survey report. We also record our recommendations based on these reports in this section. This will act as a prompt to check on progress at a later interval and record change as and when it happens. The fourth is the influencing section. Here we record our insight and influence, which has led to a stakeholder doing something different or changing the way or their perspective for the benefit of the service users. The influences are often the result of a partnership work carried out by a number of organisations. Finally, the testimonial sheet, which is my personal favourite. Where possible, we keep a record of service user and stakeholder feedback that relates to the outcomes logged in any other section within the document. So far, we've had 2 testimonials where service users have reported a significant impact as a result of contacting Healthwatch Rochdale and the signposting they received from us. So key feedback over the last quarter, we'll start off with the negative. Dentistry, it's been a key area of feedback over the last quarter. Service users are struggling to find NHS dentists on the whole, which are taking on new patients. Some dentist practices are only allowing emergency treatment to take place, while others are allowing routine appointments, which is causing frustration across the borough. GP practices have been mentioned quite heavily over the last quarter as well. The first element is being able to actually make an appointment in the first place. It's been reported some users are unable to get through at the specified times to make an appointment due to the volume of people in a queuing system each day. The second is the frustration of being unable to book an actual face-to-face appointment with their GP. Many practices are still only offering telephone appointments due to the pandemic. A challenge we face as an organisation is low response rates to follow-ups. When we follow up on those we have signposted previously to check how they've got on with their query, we receive little or no response. Feedback we receive can be anonymous, so we're unable to follow this up. Of those we can contact, the information can somewhat be limited. We could, for example, only have an email address to follow up with that person. A reason for the low response rate could be that once we've signposted a user and their issue is resolved, there is no longer a need to let us know that their query is resolved, making it difficult for us to obtain the true impact that we've created. There also seems to be a general lack across the borough an awareness of local services and resources available to residents who might need them. Now, on to the positive. Since the social media campaign was launched around menopause services and experiences, we've had an increased number of feedback in this area. And since the launch of Maternity Voices partnership with Naomi, we've seen an increase in feedback in maternity services within the borough, an area previously which we've lacked. This demonstrates the impact in the community as a direct result of the individual staff workstream areas. It has become apparent that many residents are talking about us to friends and family, which is great, as we're not back out on the ground just yet, we're beating the drums about Healthwatch Rochdale, so that's great to hear. A main theme, as mentioned earlier, is a lack of awareness around the local services and resources available to residents. We signpost to many local services and resources, and this is always greatly received by the residents as they never knew they existed. Everything we do creates awareness at Healthwatch Rochdale. A lot of people we speak to aren't too sure always what we do, so it's always nice to explain to them with each piece of feedback or phone call we receive. In regards to development, we've just created a survey to obtain feedback on Healthwatch Rochdale. This is sent out to those people who have provided us feedback around how they feel about our service. And finally, we're currently working on a reporting system in the background and a standardised signposting guide to ensure we can react quickly as possible to feedback and inquiries. Template response emails have also been created to aid consistency and the speed in which we respond to the Rochdale residents. And if anyone has any questions.
Thank you. Another excellent report.
Thank you.
Has anyone got any questions, please?
Kate's got a hand up.
Yeah, more of a comment really, Ben. It's just really to to step in there and say this is obviously a new area of work for us within the organisation, the impact tracker, and really trying to monitor our outcomes and the impact that we're having for residents.
Yeah.
And I think that the information that's coming through just from that update off Rob is really good to say it's such a newly implemented tool that we're using within the organisation, and I'm just really excited to see how that develops. I think it's great that we've got the testimonial part on there. That's something we've never really tracked before, and the fact that we're receiving increased feedback through the word of mouth is really positive. So just a big well done, really, because I think it's been a brilliant piece of work for the start of the year.
Absolutely concur about that. Any other comments or questions before we move on to Naomi? No. Okay, over to you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Naomi Kenyon. I'm the Volunteering Involvement Officer, and I'm going to give you a quick update on our volunteers to begin with. So our first work stream that we have is Youthwatch Rochdale. So the aim of Youthwatch Rochdale is to engage young people between the ages of 13 and 18 from all across the Rochdale borough, and giving them a greater voice around health and social care. And we want to eventually develop them into our organisational structure. So at the moment, we do have a small team of Youthwatch participants who join us for monthly meetings via Zoom. These meetings are the second Tuesday of every month at 6:30, and they're just for an hour. We generally talk about a wide range of things, but we have also invited other organisations into these meetings. At one of them, we invited the Disabled Children's Council to it, and they consulted with our young people around some outcomes, what they wanted to put into something. So they asked them their opinions on it, if it were worded correctly and things like that, and got that opinion back from them. We also invited to another meeting the street ambassadors from Action Together, who are basically gathering food and toiletries and things for the community warehouse in Rochdale. And the young people who were at the meeting wanted to take that back into their schools and become like collection points for the street ambassadors. So that were quite successful. Two schools from the Youthwatch participants actually took that on board. So they took that back into the schools and they became collection points for the street ambassadors. At the last meeting, we consulted around the mental health survey that Tracy was talking about before, just asking them how it worded, what their opinion of was it. So we got some really good feedback and some really good comments back from the young people about how it looked and how it was worded. The monthly meetings are something that we do via Zoom, but hopefully we will be looking at being able to get into schools more now that the COVID restrictions are lifting and things like that. It's really important, I think, as to really develop Youthwatch, that we get our presence into schools or into organisations where young people are, so that they can actually physically meet us, have that face-to-face, get to know a bit more about us, and be a bit more personal with them. So that's something that we're looking at to develop from like September time, because obviously it's coming up to the 6-week holidays now. From September as well, we're looking at a Youthwatch 100. So that's basically to get 100 young people across the Rochdale borough between the ages of 13 and 18 to sign up to us to do monthly surveys. So basically they'll do a survey around a specific work stream, could be dentistry, it could be mental health services. They'll send them surveys back and they'll be entered into a monthly draw to win a voucher at the end of every month. And again, the vouchers will be for local businesses within the Rochdale borough or from what they choose from to be. A lot of young people said that they like Starbucks vouchers or Costa Coffee vouchers or cinema vouchers. So again, it's tailoring vouchers to what they're interested in. At the moment, we've put together a full recruitment pack for Youthwatch. So it's got the application form, it's got parental consent forms in there, photography consent forms. So we've put together a proper pack so that we can get a better recruitment drive going. So obviously with it coming up to the 6-week holidays, we're really keen to get more young people on board, building up on what a lot of them have told us that they really want to build on: skills, life skills and volunteering opportunities have not been available to them over the last year because of the COVID. Generally, they'll have done babysitting, they'll have done paper out, bits of things like that. And they were saying that to go onto their CVs, it's really difficult because they've not been able to do anything. So that's something that we really want to help develop them with, do some volunteering through Youthwatch, and it'll really, really help them to build onto them skills when they go into further education. So it's looking quite positive. Next slide, please, Rob. So at the moment, we've got quite a lot of volunteering opportunities with Healthwatch Rochdale. We're currently recruiting for a chair for the board, so that's ongoing at the moment. We're constantly recruiting for the advisory group, and we've looked at the demographics of the advisory group, and we've realised that we don't have any representation from Haywood in particular. So that's somewhere that, and again, now that we can get out and about a little bit more, it's somewhere that we really want to go and look for potential members from. We have actually at the moment got interest from 3 people who want to sign up to advisory groups. So we've just sent on recruitment packs, so hopefully we'll hear back from them, so we may potentially have another 3, so that'll bring us back up to 8 advisory group members. Youthwatch, again, like I've just said, we've got a membership pack in progress. We really want to really fire that out and really get these youths on board, because it's so important that they're part of it, us as an organisation, also that we hear their voices around health and social care. The enter and view is currently on hold because of the COVID pandemic. We have actually got a waiting list of people who are interested to be enter and view voluntary representatives once we restart that back up again. It's not looking at not possible this quarter, but it's quite interesting that we've got a list of people waiting who want to volunteer on that, and that's come from some of the focus groups that we held previously and other surveys where people have gauged interest, and when I've contacted them, they've said that's a specific area that they are actually interested in wanting to volunteer with. So that's quite positive that we have got that waiting list for it. We've been looking for a social media volunteer for a couple of months, and basically it's like to help with sharing a post, source images for us and things like that, reshare posts and things. So that's something that we're still ongoing at. I originally thought that would have really appealed to a younger person, but it's still ongoing. So we are looking still for a social media volunteer. And one of the things that we are ready to just finish with at the moment is we did a recruitment drive in partnership with the Northern Care Alliance and Aqua to try and get some lived experience panel members for them. So it's people with lived experiences of health and social care, and the Northern Care Alliance and Aqua have took them on board as lived experience panel members, and they'll be a bit like our advisory group, where they'll be gathering feedback, sharing information, giving updates and giving insights onto things. So that is now closed. We managed to really well recruit 6 panel members onto that. So they're ready now to be onboarded as the Northern Care Alliance over to Northern Care Alliance from ourselves. So that's been a really positive volunteering opportunity that we're giving out. Next slide, please, Rob. And our highlights, we've had some super duper highlights over this first quarter. It's again been very difficult because of the COVID pandemic, just engaging in, with volunteers. I've been in post since August and I've still not met any of our volunteers face to face. So I'm looking forward to when we can eventually do that. We've done an Easter volunteer quiz via Zoom, and that was quite well attended. And again, it was supposed to be an easy quiz, but I'm not too sure how easy it was. But it was just a bit of fun. It was a lovely way to get everybody together, and it was nice to see people. So that was very positive. We've had some really good refresher training and people upskilling themselves on our volunteers. In April alone, we had 65 hours of volunteering given, and the majority of that was our volunteers upskilling and retraining themselves and attending training. So that's really positive. It's been a good use of time while everything's more digital. So that's been really positive. We've got a really good retention of volunteers. We did lose 3 advisory group members, but they went into further job opportunities. So that's again very positive that they went on to them. We've had a lot of hours volunteered. To say it's all been very digital and it's been very different, we've still managed to clock up some really good hours from our volunteers. So I'm really pleased with that. It was Volunteers Week at the beginning of June, and we sent everybody a certificate of thanks, and you've all got your super secret event tickets that you need to keep hold of for our super secret event that's going to happen later on in the year. So don't lose them, because it's going to happen. But we also gave out a certificate of thanks, and we were really pleased that we managed to get our advisory group, the little examples in the picture there, some certificates in partnership with the Lord Mayor of Manchester, as part of a big thank you to volunteers as such. So it sent that they were sent in collaboration from the Lord Mayor of Manchester to the advisory group. So they were really pleased with them, and it turned out very nice. But Healthwatch Rochdale was also on the consultation call for the design of the actual certificates as well. So we're quite pleased about that we consulted on how they were designed. So they turned out all right. Again, the lived experience panel, as I mentioned before, 6 volunteers recruited. Again, that were all done virtually. It was a very, very tight, short time scale that we had from ACWA and the Northern Care Alliance on this piece of work. And they were only expecting 3 or 4 volunteers, and we managed to get them 6. So that's been really, really good, and it's been really good to be involved with. And they're a great bunch of volunteers. We've attended quite a lot of voluntary, like outside organisation meetings, all again through virtual Zoom or Teams meetings. We go to the VSAM, which is organised by Action Together, every 8 to 9 weeks. We go to the bi-weekly grassroots gathering, which is an absolutely fantastic meeting, and you get, we get a lot of interest from them, and we also get to share a lot of our volunteering opportunities with them. And also we're involved with the Women's Network. And again, this is going to be really beneficial for the Maternity Voices Partnership and trying to get volunteers on board through that. We have a long-term volunteer admin who's been with us well over 5 years, and we've managed to supply her with a laptop, and she's been supporting us from home. So it's really important to, keep her as part of our team. She's been really, really pleased that she's managed to, still be able to do bits and bobs for us from home. So that's been really, really positive as well, and really beneficial to her. To do that, so that's going to be ongoing, whilst we're still working virtually. And we've sent out a lot of, you've probably all seen my numerous emails, lots of questionnaires, surveys, and consultations. We've done a lot of them virtually, and we've had quite a lot of, a lot of participation in it. So again, it's been really, really good. So thank you to everyone who has sent them things back in. That's been brilliant. Next slide, please, Rob. So our next steps. One of our other volunteering opportunities, which links onto my next lot of slides in a bit, will be the Rochdale Oldham Maternity Voices Partnership. We're looking at massive recruitment at the moment for volunteers. Now a lot of people are back off furlough, a lot of people are back into work or other things. We really, really want to, push out this volunteer recruitment drive across all our different work streams. So one of them is through the Maternity Voices Partnership. Massive push on Youthwatch. We really want to get them on board, definitely as part of our team. The advisory group again, Claire's really, thankfully, thank you very much, Claire, has adapted our application form so that it'll be easy for people to apply to the advisory group via a web form on our website, rather than clicking on it, downloading a form, either having to print it off or it's not being compatible and things like that. So we're just looking at different ways in which we can help aid that volunteering process, and then we're going to look at gaps for representation for wider targeting, and again look at the social media volunteer, because it's coming up to the summer holidays. One idea is to engage with further education to see if there's any relevant courses like Creative Eye Media or something like that, to see what students can potentially volunteer over the summer with us as a micro role. So they'll still build up them skills, they'll still get that volunteering opportunity, but we know it's time limited. It's a micro role for across the summer. So hopefully we will, that will have good interest as well. And I think that's my last one. Next one, please. Yeah, and that's the last one. So thank you.
Thank you. That was a really good update. A couple of questions from me. Really, really pleased about the Youthwatch 100 work. I wonder if we should do some media work on it as well. So I'm happy to be involved in that, because I think that's quite a good initiative. And also, it might be nice, actually, I don't know how practical this is, again, to do some media work around the people who volunteered with us, but then got into paid roles. I think that's a really good story for us to tell. So I don't know whether we're still in contact with them, or whether they'd be up for sharing their experience that we could put out to people.
Yeah.
So if that's okay, can I leave it with you guys? And I'm happy to be quoted on anything. Draft my own quote and that. So brilliant, thank you. Any questions? No. Okay, no, really good report. So you're up again, I think.
Me again.
Yeah, brilliant. Over to you.
So brilliant. So this is our new, very exciting bit that we're doing. It's the Rochdale Oldham Maternity Voices Partnership. So the Rochdale Oldham Maternity Voices Partnership, otherwise known as an MVP, is a newly reformed forum for maternity service users, providers and commissioners of services to come together to design services locally that meets the needs of local women, parents, birthing family, people and families in the Rochdale and Oldham area. So we're saying it's newly reformed because it's been up and running for a while, but it's been a bit quiet as such. So we've newly reformed it. So it works across the 2 boroughs, across Rochdale and Oldham. It's about bringing together professionals, bringing together groups, bringing together organisations, as well as birthing families. So it involves local women. It's led by representatives from Healthwatch Rochdale, and we're supported by Healthwatch Oldham with it as well. And we have got remunerated chair in place at the moment, who's been recruited from the 31st of May. So next slide, please, Rob. So our aim, the aim of the Rochdale and Oldham Maternity Voices Partnership is to champion the voices of women, birthing people and their families in the development of maternity services. So it's making sure that they're representing, that they're supporting networking and gathering feedback, and that way they can further improve the services and ensure that the service users' voice is heard. So it's absolutely key. It's key on having that, the residents, patients, and the service users, making sure that it's their voices, they have their say on what's gone well, what's not gone so well, and what can be improved. Next slide, please, Rob. So it's been a really, really quick first quarter with the Maternity Voices Partnership. It was a very short time frame again. We had a lot of very tight deadlines with it, but it's been absolutely brilliant, and it's been a really, really good start to this piece of work. So we've reformed and reset up this Rochdale and Oldham Maternity Voices Partnership. We've got a chair in place. We had a recruitment drive for that, and we've got she's called Leona Barlow, so she's our new chair. She's done an induction, and she's done some further training as well. And she's also been offered mentoring from the National Maternity Voices Partnership. So they've offered her 4 sessions of mentoring on specific areas that she feels that she needs a little bit more input on. So that's been a really good offer from them. We've developed networks and relationships across Rochdale and Oldham. So we've actually been in contact with some fantastic groups and organisations, many of whom I didn't know about personally, but also there's so many, because everything's gone virtual as such across the last year. So many different baby groups and mother and baby groups and family groups, they've all gone online, and Instagram especially has massively boomed with these different groups and organisations. So we've really developed some good relationships with some of these organisations. We've also developed a really good working relationship with commissioners from Rochdale and Oldham. So they've been key in the initial stages of this, but we have developed a really good relationship with them alongside with the chair. So that's been very, very positive. We've had our first meeting, which was our first online meeting in Zoom. Generally in the past, they've met at a local library or a local children and family centre. But again, because of the COVID, we did it on Zoom, and it was extremely positive. We had, I think it was 23 participants on that. So it was really, really, it was really positive. We had some really good voices on there. We had some good feedback from it, and we had some good updates from the maternity services, and we had a question and answer session as well. So it was really, really good. And from the back end of that, we had service users who have gauged more interest in it and showed a real big interest and expression of interest in being part of the Maternity Voices Partnership and wanting to know how they can do more. So therefore, our list of potential members has massively built. We've currently got, I think it's 18 people who are residents and service users who have all had children within the last 3 years, who are all ready to be part of this team. And we've really massive benefit for this has been the resources of reach and engagement through social media. So when we did the chair recruitment, it was actually a lot of our interest for the chair pack came from mainly Instagram. So it's on the other side of Instagram seems to be very popular around maternity services. So on the back end of that, we have set up a very specific Rochdale and Oldham MVP separate Instagram page so that the chair can work alongside that as well, and we can post more things on it and stuff, because that does seem to be the way where most of it has come from. Next slide, please, Rob. So again, social media, we've had a massive reach and engagement. The Facebook page and the Twitter page was already established, and we've took it over as such. But again, the Facebook page has been quite redundant for a while, so it's about trying to build up that reach, trying to build up that engagement, and in just a couple of months, we've managed to get quite a lot of new users on it, a lot of more interaction and engagement. Things that we're posting on the Facebook page, they're actually clicking and engaging and, like following the links to. So social media as a virtual engagement tool, I think with the Maternity Voices partnership is going to be quite key to what we're doing. And the chair has got plans to do a communication, like a comms plan around social media and how she can make the best use of that. So they are all our little hashtags and handles and wwws and things like that. So if any of you are on social media, feel free to follow them as well. So click on them and like, so that'd be brilliant. Next slide, please, Rob. So the next steps, we've got quite a lot of next steps with it being such a new group. We've got lots of things that we're loads of ideas, loads of things we want to do, just not a lot of time. So one of the main things that we're going to do at the moment is a massive recruitment drive. So we've already got that list of potential members who want to be part of it. But we really want to get them on board properly, get a full-on application pack, get them to fill in all the paperwork so they are proper on board as members. And we want a diverse team as well, right across Rochdale and Oldham. It's very important that we look at both boroughs because it is over the both boroughs. And we want to really look at them hard to reach areas as well. And doing that, we're going to devise, well, we're in the process of devising a South Asian women's survey. So over at Oldham, they've got very, very good links with South Asian groups over there, as well as over in Rochdale, us have got very, very good links as well with different groups, and alongside Tracy's Engage project as well. So one thing that we're going to be doing is we've got the survey, we're going to be doing some engagement work going into certain community groups and stuff. And alongside that as well, the chair is going to go into Royal Oldham Hospital and go into Rochdale Infirmary, working with the bilingual midwives to try and get these views and voices in as well, and gather feedback on it, on certain things around maternity care and services. One of the things that we really, really want to do is gather this feedback in. We've already massively had a huge increase in feedback to Healthwatch itself. When we first looked at the Maternity Voices Partnership, we had very, very little feedback around maternity care services. One of the things maybe that is because we don't have a birthing centre within Rochdale. Everybody tends to go to Oldham or North Manchester. But since the Maternity Voices Partnership has been more out there, we've got a lot of more feedback coming in. So it's showing that people have got that thing that they want to say and that it's coming in. But we've now Claire's designed a very specific feedback form around the Maternity Voices Partnership, asking very specific questions and looking at demographical areas as well. So that's due to go live at the end of this month, going into next month, and that'll be ongoing then, gathering that feedback. So we will also supply hard copies of that to some different organisations and other places, and also within the infirmary and at Royal Oldham Hospital, because we've been told that some people still want like that hard copy of things to see, so we'll produce some of them as well. And one of the main things about the Maternity Voices Partnership is that co-production, that co-design, making sure that it's the members' voices, the members' things who are helping design leaflets, helping design banners, helping design other things, and also working alongside the maternity services to really, really make sure that it's work that they do is in partnership with the people as such. So next slide, please. And that's me. That's done. Thank you.
Thank you for that excellent update. Brilliant work, I think, the MVP, really, really positive. When's the next meeting, please?
And the next one is on the Monday, the 12th of July at 8 PM via Zoom.
All right. Could you send me the link to it? I'd like to observe, actually, which is good. Any questions, please? No. Okay. Well, excellent update. Thank you. And on to Kate. So we're slightly running behind time, but I think these are really important updates to have. So Kate, strategic update, please.
No problem. Next slide, please, Rob. So just to give you a bit of an update of what I've been up to over the last quarter. So I attended, we as an organisation, we're implementing the Healthwatch England quality framework standards. So we're at the self-assessment phase, and there was a board session that was run in April, and Delana from Healthwatch England came along. We've had the staff session where we've looked at the big document that we all went through, and I've engaged with the volunteers through a survey. So I've got all the responses now, and we're now just looking at completing the action plan to sign us up to these this framework. So that's all on board, and we're cracking on with that. The training over the last quarter, really impressive. 45 internal and external training sessions been completed by staff and all volunteers in the Q1 period. I've been doing a bit of work with Healthwatch England. This year as an operational team, we looked differently when it came to our planning, and Healthwatch England came along and did a theory change work session with us, and it just made us think differently about our operational work plan this year. And Healthwatch England asked me to present our work and what we've been doing, and I attended the Engage Spring conference, which is a conference led by NHS with our professionals, specifically who are around comms and engagement. So it was a really, really positive experience, really, to work with our Healthwatch England team, but also to teach them something new and think about different ways of trying to tackle some issues. So that was really positive. And we've got the board and staff link worker roles, which will be picked up in part 2 of the board agenda, but also they're to be implemented from the 1st of August. Emails have been sent out to the board, so I've been working on that. So obviously we have the Healthwatch and Greater Manchester meetings, which I attend. They're monthly meetings, and currently there's a lot of work going on around the Greater Manchester integrated care structure, and then what Healthwatch is going to look like at a GM. With a lot of the services being commissioned from that GM approach, is looking at how local Healthwatch still have that voice and that scrutiny within the roles. And I'm going to be doing some work around benchmarking, which I'm going to lead on behalf of the GM. So as a 10 GM, we've had so much work over the years, had consultants in looking at how we can streamline best practice our work across the patch. And obviously with the ICCS kicking in shortly, I'm really keen to standardise some of the GM work. So that's something that I'm going to be leading on across the GM patch, and I'll give you a further update once I've got some sort of action plan in place. Rob, can you go to the next one? Thank you. So local strategic meetings over the quarter, I've attended over 20 plus external meetings, and I've done a lot of work. There's been a lot of, it felt like duplicated meetings, but there's been a lot of meetings looking at the shadow format of our new local integrated care system. So for example, the ICB, which is the Integrated Commissioning Board, runs, but then I have a shadow development board on the side of that. So there has been a lot more meetings, but it's really trying to iron out what the future structure is going to look like in Rochdale. And I'm just really pleased that we're around the table to have a voice in that. So I've been working on the Xero implementation, which is our new online finance system. And I'm pleased to say that is now complete. Just in the process of finalising last year's to crack on with the annual accounts there. But the reporting will be ready for the subcommittee this next month. So equality impact assessments. So this is something that was picked up by the advisory group, really. So equality impact assessments are a document that are used when there's a change in service or when you're doing a piece of work to really make sure that you're making, the reach is right in the work that you're doing. And we were receiving equality impact assessments on services that had been changed, and we were reading it and knowing it wasn't quite right. But it was identified that there was a bit of a training gap from a staff and volunteer perspective around what EIAs should actually look like. So we've done some work with the staff team, and we're hoping to bring Samina from HMRCCG back over, who's the equality lead over there, for some further training with our advisory group. But we've reflected on that as a staff team, and we've now got equality impact assessments for all our work stream areas, to really make sure, sorry, that's my flipper, to really make sure that the reach is as far as we can get. So annual appraisals, all annual appraisals have been completed for the staff in the first quarter of the year, and personal development plans have been booked in to follow up on the back of them. We've been obviously had our monthly subcommittee meetings, and there's some development there around what reporting's looking like and bringing new things to the meetings. And it seems like the agendas are forever extending, but it's good because it's it's that innovation. Specifically in the finance and general purpose, we're going to be looking at a finance action plan for the next 18 months, looking then to build that into a finance strategy moving forward. And obviously, as with the board today, there's going to be more of staff involvement within the subcommittees and the governance process within Healthwatch Rochdale, just so that you guys get to hear it from the from the staff, what's been going on, what they're working on, and to build those relationships up. And then I've had my first quarter contract meeting with Rochdale Borough Council, and they were very happy with the update around the KPI documents and where we are up to with our engagement. So that was a very successful meeting. Next slide, please, Rob. So local care organisation development. So I've touched upon some of the meetings that I've been attending, but I also have monthly one-to-one meetings, and they're held with Sandra Crowsdale. So Sandra Crowsdale is the link between HMRCCG and the hospital with the LCO. So it's a very complex role, and it's a mixed role in what she's doing, but it's to make sure that this next phase of the changes around devolution go smoothly across all patches. So I hold a monthly one-to-one with Sandra, and also the independent chair of the LCO, Sally McIver. So you might recognise that name. Previously, Sally McIver was the director for adult social care in Rochdale, but she's now retired and gone to be the independent chair over there. So great, because we've got a good relationship. So what's next in regards to the local care organisation? So we're looking at how we feed the advisory group into the local care organisation. So obviously I have my monthly one-to-ones where I feed key concerns in and make them aware of some of the rumblings that happen on the ground from our data. But we're looking at getting that regular meeting set up with the advisory group chair and the LCO, and looking at how we can get more of the ask and offers with everything that's going on. And then I'm due to go to the LCO board and SMT meeting in July to go through our decision making process and policy, to give them that knowledge of what the advisory group does, and really just to update them. Obviously it's very complex what we do in regards to how many branches we hold within a Healthwatch, so just really to educate. There's a lot of new faces around the table, so just going back to basics and raising that awareness. So local presentations. So I gave a presentation to the Rochdale Safeguarding Adults Board, and that was just to really, again, reset the tone of Healthwatch, look at to explain our governance, what we're there for, our strategic aims, and then how we engage. So that was a really positive, well received presentation. And I've also been invited to present at the Rochdale Leadership Network, which is a brilliant opportunity for us. So that's basically all the leaders across all of Rochdale, and that includes councillors as well. And that's a really well attended meeting. So again, just getting the voice of, really highlighting the role of Healthwatch, looking at the asks and offers in regards to what providers and commissioners can do to support the local Healthwatch when, sharing information, going out to consult. So really some good opportunities coming up there. And then what's next for me over the next quarter? So obviously the local integrated care structure and the development there is massive for us. Local engagement involvement, and that's with the local NHS, so that's the CCG and the infirmary, the local care organisation over there, around the future intentions, and it's similar to the work that we did back in September with them. We're going to be looking at an office relocation, which needs to be done before November. We've got advisory group development, and I've got a session booked in next week, again looking at the decision making and really instilling the powers of the advisory group so that they know what their role is, and looking at how that's going to further develop over the coming months. So Healthwatch quality framework development, finalise that, get the action plan and timeframes, and get that reported into the board as to when we're going to have that framework up and running. Myself and Tracy will be looking at the engagement strategy, and it's something that we've kept putting on hold, but due to circumstances of COVID, until we were out back on the ground and seeing how the new engagement would work for us. But that is something that myself and Tracy will be working on over the coming months. We've got our annual accounts for the last financial year to complete, and the board recruitment and development will be having a board development session within the next quarter to look at the link worker roles, and I think we just need to stop and take stock of everything and the developments that's happened within the organisation, with the new operational staff team. Next slide, please, Rob. Any questions?
Thank you, Kate. Another fantastic update. Just one from it. Well, it's not a question, just a comment. The Rochdale Leadership Network meeting. If you could send me the date, I'll try and come and support you if that's okay. Might be worthwhile me just giving a very quick intro and handing over to you, Kate, to do everything else.
Yeah, no problem.
Fantastic. Any questions from anyone? We are being quiet today, absolutely. Okay, brilliant.
Sorry, I think Mel's raised a hand there.
Oh, sorry, Mel, missed you.
Yeah, it's more of a comment, really. I just want to say that I've found all the presentations today really helpful, and it kind of gives us a real kind of flavour and an appreciation of all the work that's going on. So yeah, just thanks to everybody for those.
Absolutely, I second that comment, and I think it's been quite a good thing to put on the agenda, Kate. So thank you for doing that. Okay,
Margaret, I think Margaret's raised a hand.
Okay, Margaret.
Actually, I was going to say the very same thing. I think it's been great. It's been quiet. It's been very, very interesting. It's something I welcome again about having that sort of input in terms of understanding better and seeing better the engagement with the staff. It's been brilliant. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much for that. So next item on the agenda, the advisory group report. Again, I'll take it as read. Kate, do you want to expand on anything?
I think it's just to say that the advisory group is really embedded within the organisation now. I've
Brilliant.
alluded that we've got the development session next week around that decision making and putting them in order with our policies, so we know how decisions are going to be made moving forward. We're looking at creating business cards for them, which will have the text and QR codes, and that's really to increase the feedback. And obviously recruitment is key for this area of work. I've met with Karen Callender, who's obviously the chair of the advisory group, and we're going to look at the frequencies of the meeting. We started off with monthly, because that's what we needed to embed it and develop the group as as a core. Now that development's done, it's managing that monthly meeting with the asks and reactiveness of the staff team to do some of the work there. So we're going to look at mixing that up a little bit, and we're going to but that's something that we're going to discuss and look at with the group. It's not something that we're just going to decide as an operational staff team. We've been having guest speakers attending, which has been really positive. It really provides that information and education element to the advisory group, but it also means that it's given the group the ownership of holding the system to account by them asking the questions and not us being the third person all the time. So as a whole, really pleased with how it's being developed. Like I said, we just really need to look at this recruitment drive now and getting more people around the table. So great work stream, great work going on there.
Fantastic, brilliant. Okay, so we move on to the annual report. Again, I take it that everyone's read it and digested it. It was a very good report, if I may say so. So unless there's any comments, I can't see anyone with their hand up. No, okay, can we move to approve it then? Is the board happy with that annual report? I know most of us contributed to it anyway. So any, yeah, so everyone happy with that? Excellent, good stuff, good stuff. So moving on to the final item of the agenda for the public meeting. Any other business? I don't think we had any other business notified in advance. No. Excellent, brilliant. Well, this concludes the public meeting then. I suggest we have 10 minutes, should we say, till the next meeting, just to get a cup of tea and everything. Is everyone happy with that? Or do you want to just go straight into it?
No, I think a rest break would be good, please, Ben.
Yeah, I agree.
and I just want to say,
I need to get a tea.
Yeah, and can I just say thanks for the staff teams. I know some of you we really appreciate you coming here and giving the update to the board, but I think it has worked really well, and it's just highlighting the amazing work that you're all doing, so thank you. Absolutely, I completely second those comments. All right then, so we'll say 20 to 12 on Teams. See you there. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, bye.